Well, there's nothing, Judge, that creates a threat to American national security. The threat to American national security is the presence of our own forces there, creating the possibility of a failed state in Venezuela that would cause repercussions throughout the Western Hemisphere through instability, chaos, emboldening other organizations to try and overthrow their governments. I mean, so the national security implications come here from our own actions. They come not from anything the Venezuelan state is doing. The Venezuelan state, is pathetic. What threat can it pose to the United States? It could barely pose threats to its neighbors. It's a state that is not failed, but it's collapsing primarily due to American sanctions. I think 12 rounds of sanctions since 2005, 5 American coup attempts since 2002, if we're keeping score. So the presence of this American fleet that's there, that is too small to carry out an Iraq or an Afghanistan style invasion, but is the right size to carry out a Libya style operation. And so the idea being is that the Americans would provide the airstrikes, the drone strikes, they could provide the commando raids, they'd have the cash to pay mercenaries and militia groups, and would be to create the circumstances for opposition groups in Venezuela to depose Maduro and to take his place. And if anyone thinks that's going to go well, I need to know which history books you've been reading, because I can't find evidence of where something like that goes smoothly. I mean, best case is you have there is no best case. I'm trying to come up with some way, Judge, that a military action against Venezuela wouldn't end up with different scenarios that all could lead to not just a great instability, civil war, suffering for 30 million Venezuelans, but could lead to great instability, suffering, chaos, war throughout the continent, just as American military actions in Vietnam, in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya have all done. I mean, we could go through different scenarios where you could say, look, if Maduro is deposed and the opposition groups led by Gonzalez and Machado take power, well, what about the pretty large element of the population that are Maduro backers, that are Maduro supporters, that have been usurped? Does anyone think they're going to sit quietly? So even if you have a smooth regime change, you run into the issue of, okay, those who've been usurped are now going to fight to regain their lost power. Right? I mean, so all these different scenarios. If Maduro falls and Machado and Gonzalez and the opposition can't take power, well, then you have a civil war. And if Maduro doesn't fall, which is just as likely as all these other options, then you have a Maduro regime seeking vengeance, trying to repress those who tried to overthrow him, who took part in this treasonous act. I mean, none of those scenarios bring about any degree of stability, bring about any degree of anything benevolent or beneficial, I should say, to the Venezuelan people, right? So, I mean, everything we kind of, as we game out what can occur here with U.S. military action in Venezuela, it all ends up, they different routes in the same place. Disruption, dismay, repression, possibly violence, suffering, civil war in Venezuela. And then, of course, the great danger that it would expand beyond Venezuela's borders, which, you already have American officials saying such a thing. You have people like Machado saying that the goal is to go from Venezuela to Nicaragua to Cuba. And you can imagine these various groups throughout the region that are out of power, seeing as their best way to get into power is to show the Americans that they're worthy of their support. Or believing that if we stage a coup here, or we stage an uprising, the Americans will come and back us, just as they did in Venezuela. I mean, so we're really looking at a situation where Venezuela and military action there could ignite the whole region into not just instability, but into war.